As the days have gone by, I have gotten more and more fond of the Dre Jones to Baltimore trade. And here's what I want to do. I want to ask you this question. Comment down below. How much of an impact do you think that Dre Jones coming to Baltimore brings to this defense? Comment 1 through 10 and then tell me why. I'm going to talk about this and a lot more on this episode because Dre Jones has some things to say to Baltimore fans all around the flock out there. So this and much more on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Like the video, guys. What is going on? What is going on? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you might be listening to this broadcast. This is the Quiet Storm Sports segment of the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. I am your host, Sutton Def, and we got a couple of things to get into. This is a live callers episode, so there is a link down below in the description of this video where if you want to dial into the episode, I will be taking some callers in about 15 minutes here or so once I get through my little initial spiel that I have here for you guys. But shout out to everybody who's here watching in the live chat. This is yet another episode of Quiet Storm Sports. I see Garnett down there. Tila M, one of our members in the house, says, hey, y'all, what's going on, Tila? I see Chris M, another one of our members in the chat as well. Big shout out to you guys. Always got to give the round of applause for the members. Each and every time. But listen, guys, there were not too many pieces of news that came out surrounding the Baltimore Ravens since we last talked yesterday. But there was a practice today. I do want to start off by saying that everybody practiced. You know, everybody was out there practicing. The Ravens have a clean bill of health. That is something that, 10 weeks into the season is something that you can't really take for granted. You cannot at all because there's so many other teams around the league. And yes, we've lost guys like Nnamdi Madubuike. That is probably the worst casualty of the season for us so far because we don't even know if he's coming back. But outside of him, the Ravens are relatively healthy, right? And that's something that you should definitely be happy about, especially, again, 10 weeks into this NFL season. So here's my thing. I wanted to get on here and tell you guys what the deal was about Dre Jones and what his message was that he sent to Baltimore Ravens fans today. Let's go ahead and hop right into what Dre Jones had to say. Let's hear it.
What kind of player can Baltimore expect to get out of here?
Somebody who physical as hell. Who's going to attack every play like it's the last, and we're going to go out there and just try to kill or be killed.
Yeah. So, I mean, you heard it there first, folks. I mean, I think we got some dogs back in this locker room. That's just me personally. And what I'm actually going to play next for you is what John Harbaugh had to say about it. First of all, listen, the whole killer be killed, physical as hell. I love that. I mean, I love the fact that we're just getting some more size on that front seven, right? This guy is coming in at 6'3", 280 pounds. This guy, and again, based off of what Harbaugh said at the presser today, I'm about to let you guys hear what he said. I feel like he's going to have a very, very big impact on passing down. So those third and longs, those third and fives and plus, you're going to see him on the field. You're going to see him demanding double teams in certain areas, which may also free up other guys on the edge. I'm really, really looking at a Mike Green who's starting to come into his own, getting more pressure, getting a higher pressure rate, also getting a better get off time by the game as well. This guy, Mike Green, is coming into his own. And I think that a guy like Dre Jones coming into the system as well, not forcing Mike Green to take so many snaps all the time and actually giving him that relief in that regard, it's going to make Mike Green stand out a little bit more, even the likes of a guy like Kyle Van Noy as well. It's going to do wonders for everybody. It's more of like a really big, the way I look at Dre Jones is like this. I look at him as a really, really nice or strong chain in the fence link, right? Like he just strengthens the front seven in a way where I feel like it's going to be able to help defending the run in certain situations, but mainly for those pass rush situations, it's going to be golden for that. Now let's take a listen to what John Harbaugh had to say about the impact of a Dre Jones and what he could potentially be bringing to this Baltimore defense. Let's go ahead and take a listen to John.
Help the defense, the pass rush, everything overall.
Yeah, I think he can help a lot. I mean, we're really happy with it. It's something that had been in the works for a while, and he's a good fit for us. You know, the system he's been in for the last 3 years is the same system, so he picks it up quickly there, and he's a really good fit just style of play-wise. So we absolutely will get him weaved into it right away, and he'll be playing on Sunday.
John, is the versatility that he's shown in the past where he can slide inside, is that something appealing to you guys as well?
It is something, yeah, especially in pass downs, you know, to get in there and give you some work inside as well. He hasn't been doing that this year as much, but he's done a lot in the past, so that's a big part of it.
For him, how much do you think he can help the defense?
Yeah. So John Harbaugh pretty much all but confirming there that you're going to see a lot of this guy as an inside rusher, right? Which means guys like Kyle Van Noy, guys like Mike Green are still going to get theirs. I saw on a couple obvious passing downs, you had guys who were rushing from the inside, guys like Trenton Simpson, guys who just simply do not have the size to take on a left guard or a right guard, right? You know what I'm saying? And I think that inserting a guy like a Dre Jones just kind of demands double teams, not on every single play, but on certain plays, which is going to free up some more of those guys on the outside. So needless to say, I'm excited about it. Again, it wasn't the most high profile pick. I get it. It wasn't the most high profile. It wasn't the sexiest pick that the Ravens could have went for at the trade deadline. I understand that. However, dare I say, in this situation, I like our guys. And I guess I'm kind of saying that, I guess I'm kind of echoing that Harbaugh-ism because I have to at this point, right? The trade deadline has come and gone, right? The Ravens aren't going to go out and pick up anybody else off of the couch like they did with Carl Lawson, right? I think that this is what we're rocking with. I truly do. Now, like I told, I think I was talking to Ravens Roundup yesterday, or it might have been I think it was on Charm City Sideline podcast. Shout out to them. I was on their show last night. And I was basically telling them that, the Ravens are still very thin across that D-line. They are a Travis Jones injury away from being absolutely devastated, absolutely decimated to the point of no return, really. So with that being said, man, somebody else has got to step up again. We're going to have to be relying on some of the younger guys, I think, in spots. CJ Okoye, Aeneas Peebles will probably still start to get some more playing time as well. But I do, again, Dre Jones, I think that the impact, if I had to rate it 1 through 10, like I told you guys at the top of the episode, make sure you comment down below the impact that you think that Dre Jones will bring to this Ravens defense, 1 through 10. Again, put it down in the comments, guys. I'd probably say I'm gonna go with an 8. I'm gonna go with an 8 on this one, guys. And the reason why I say that is because while we're talking about all of these guys in and around the line of scrimmage. So the Carl Lawsons that we just brought up, who's going to be in the rotation now. The Kyle Van Noy, who we expect to maybe get some better matchups, some more one-on-one matchups, some things like that on the outside. Same thing for Mike Green. While we're talking about a Dre Jones, who, again, I think is going to be a really, really good chain in the fence link is the way that I described it. You also have Kyle Hamilton, who teams have to scheme up for, who teams have to allocate extra resources, right? And extra mental energy, an extra 30 minutes in film study, right? Contributing to how are we going to scheme away from this guy, number 14. So, if you have more multiple pressure, right, coming from both sides, right? Because obviously, like we saw against the Dolphins, like we saw in the last 3 Ravens games, Kyle Hamilton was playing closer to the box. He was blitzing a lot. He was in the backfield causing havoc. Of course, Kyle Hamilton can only come from one side, right? It's either the left side, right side, or, of course, through the middle. And he's been successful at coming through, each and every side. I think that if you have Kyle Hamilton screaming off of one side on, let's say, a 3rd and 7 for most quarterbacks, right, especially this Vikings team coming up where J.J. McCarthy loves to hold the football, 3+ seconds. He's right up there with Caleb Williams. I do expect a good amount of sacks. By the way, J.J. McCarthy, in his couple of starts this season, has been sacked 14 times. 3 times in one game, 6 times in another game, and then 5 times in another game, I believe it is. So he holds onto the ball. So there's going to be opportunities there, and I think we'll see it firsthand, the impact that bringing in a Dre Jones has for this pass rush. So I'm excited about it. Again, let me see. Adam says he's going to go with a 7. Chris says she's going to go with a 6 in terms of, okay. Tila says 7, 8. Ohio Ravens Flock says 6 in terms of how much impact. Ravens 76 B more, you say 8. Yeah, I'm gonna go 8, man. I mean, it's just look again with the style of defense, with the scheme of defense that the Ravens are playing right now. This was the perfect time to go ahead and get a guy who can aid in rushing the passer. Because while I do believe that having Kyle Hamilton in the box and sending him after the quarterback and having him basically live in the backfield, while I do think that is, you know, a good luxury to have, I don't think that is very sustainable. I don't think that is very sustainable. Um, Eventually, I think going later into a season, he's gonna get a little bit banged up. Kyle Hamilton is. So I mean, and Kyle Hamilton's a guy that you can ill afford to lose as well. You just can't afford to lose a Kyle Hamilton on this team. If we had to talk about guys who the Ravens cannot afford to lose, we're talking Kyle Hamilton, Travis Jones, and Lamar Jackson. Those are probably the top three right now. You lose any one of those three guys, everything shifts, everything changes. That's just kind of what it is. So I do think again that having a Dre Jones on this team does give this Ravens more pass rush abilities and options, right? Because right now, and I assume a lot of these snaps will be taken from David Ojabo, but because he's not really doing too much of anything right now, and those snaps are going to go more towards Dre Jones, and we'll see the impact that he's able to bring. But I'm going to go with an 8. Let me see. So we do have a caller in the backstage. I believe it's my guy Garnett back there backstage. Let me see if he can come up real quick. Let me see. Let me go ahead and switch over to our caller studio and bring him up. Let me see. See how my guy Garnett is feeling about these Ravens. Post-trade deadline. Let's go ahead and bring my guy Garnett up. Garnett,
Hey,
what's going on, man?
hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How you feeling? Like, how you feeling about these Ravens? Trade deadline just passed. You know what I'm saying? We got Dre Jones in the building now. It seems like the Ravens might be trying to turn a new corner, like Lamar Jackson said today. Let me know how you feeling, man. We got 5 minutes on the clock. Let's get it.
Yeah, so just to get to it, man, I mean, how I felt before. Like, I really don't overreact a lot, due to the whole situation. I just, it's cool. Dre was one of those things we should have got early in the off season more than, the way we got him, man. Like I said, it's very unique to me. It's a very unique situation where the Ravens are really just going back. Like I said, they should have done it during May. Getting the pieces that they should have acquired. Like obviously, a Alohi Gilman. Like I said, it's a funny cycle. Like in May, we lost, our Darius Washington to Achilles, and we had a hole there, knowing that we were a nickel team, big nickel team at that. And we know we needed that to allow Kyle to have a little freedom in his playing ability. And we go all the way to like almost damn near the mid to end of October to trade away the pass rusher in order to get a safety, and end up giving needing also that edge rusher as well. Right back to getting it. So I give it a 5. I like Draymond's ability, but the reason why I give it a 5 is because he was like one piece for the final piece that we needed. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I know the Quentin Williams, that was a crazy race, but Calais Campbell, but then again, you don't know what he was going for. But like Deron Payne, there's a lot of guys that we will never know until an interview happens. But to create, $15 million to $14 million of cap space of availability and didn't get what you thought you were going to get,
Exactly.
we'll never know until he has a press conference. That's where I sit with it, man. He's gonna put up a good fight for us. He's gonna give a little rotation here or that, which we need. Running with 3 outside linebackers, edge rushers, active was pretty crazy. And we, like you was just talking about how you're risking it with a lot of stuff, and spamming Kyle with big nickels is completely dumb to me. Like you're $100 million guy, and you're using him
Yeah.
as literally as a linebacker. It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, man, that's where I'm at, man. With a whole picture of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I agree with a lot of what you said, man. I mean, you're right. The past couple of weeks, Jeff Zariebek's been tweeting like right before the game, like, yeah, Ravens are only trotting out a couple outside linebackers. So, and it kind of made me worry, especially for guys like Mike Green. This is his first season, right? And it's not like he's coming from like the Big Ten or one of these big schools, right? He came from a smaller school, Marshall, where he's not playing up against, NFL ready talent week in and week out. And by the way, practicing against NFL ready talent week in and week out, proven commodities, that is. So
Right.
I thought with him playing, a ton of snaps each week, that wasn't necessarily, I think it kind of like took the training wheels off of Mike Green just enough to kind of accelerate his learning process, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, I think that
Right.
because now for the rest of the season, you're starting to see him pick it up a little bit more. You're starting to
Right.
see him get after the quarterback. You're starting to see those pass rush moves actually work. And once he puts on some size, that's an offseason thing. But once he puts on some size, he's really, really going to start to put it together. But I do think that him not being on the field quite as much and you having a Dre Jones who can be a rotational guy as well on that outside or maybe even sometimes on the inside, like Harbaugh said, that is going to do wonders for Mike Green's development. I truly do believe that.
Same, man. Like I said, man, it's just really hard being a Ravens fan. I think all of us could agree with that. It's just my whole thing. Like I said, I'm all about future planning, just how my job is, and always trying to plan stuff out. So, like I said, we had when Darius went down, we in May, we had the idea of what we needed to do. John Jenkins was a cool pickup, like on it, but like we didn't have a backup plan, a real plan to replace Michael Pierce. Like a lot of stuff is just like we're fixing stuff now or trying to fix stuff when it should have been fixed, before the season even started. So that's why I say it's like we couldn't predict, obviously Matabike getting hurt, but
Yeah.
it just too many. You already had too many holes, so when he went down, it just created another hole. You know what I mean? And it's just, like I said, it's pretty crazy, man. But go Ravens, right?
Go Ravens, man. Go Ravens. And real quick before you get out of here, give me your prediction for this Sunday. Give me a score prediction and one bold prediction for this Vikings game.
I would say Mike Green gets 2 sacks. We win probably
Okay.
20, 28, 28, 24.
Okay, so you think it's gonna be like a close one, like a barn
Yeah,
burner all the way towards the end. Got
yeah, I
it.
believe so.
Interesting.
Yep.
Heard. I got you. I got you. Okay, that's interesting. I don't think it's gonna be as close. I talked to the guys on Charm City sideline about that last night. I think it's gonna be a pretty sizable win. I think we win by 2+ possessions, if you ask me. I think we
I hope
bottle it
so.
up. I think I mentioned to you on Twitter earlier about that.
Yeah, I think so. I have to look back, but yeah, I know we was talking about the frat boy energy he was giving out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see how good we'll see how well it translates to this Baltimore defense, who seems to be again turning a new leaf. Again, we got to continue to see. But Garnett, I appreciate
right.
you for coming through. I'm gonna go ahead and bring somebody else up. Make sure you stop back by next Wednesday. All right.
All right, man.
All right, bro. See you later, man.
See you.
All right, that was my guy Garnett in the house. Always appreciate him for coming through. Make some good points about that defensive line, man. It's just issues that have been issues since the off season should not be being addressed in season is basically what my guy Garnett was saying there. And I totally agree. And I guess a lot of us Ravens fans kind of overlooked it and took it for granted. Well, we were all screaming to the heavens like, I don't know what they're going to do to replace Michael Pierce. But it seemed like we were more concerned about more what we would think today are like trivial things, right? Like who's going to replace Justin Tucker? Is Tyler Loop going to be the guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, is the offensive line, which is still a valid concern, is the offensive line going to, still trot out the same five, whatever. I do have somebody else backstage here. My guy, Terry. Terry, go ahead and turn your mic on if you are ready to rock. All right, there he is. He's back there. Let me go ahead and bring my guy up. Terry, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you for coming
Nothing
through.
much. Appreciate you for having me on, man. I know I got 5 minutes, so I'm gonna hurry up and say what I gotta say. But
All right, let's get it.
yeah, I feel as though after the trade deadline, I kind of like lost all faith in EDC, man. Like for real. Like going into like the season before, like, we traded for what's his name? Tre'Davious White. Granted, cool. But I feel as though
Yeah.
we still could have got like offensive line help for Lamar. We seen it now, like pretty sure almost every Ravens fan going in before this season, like we all had some type of like non-belief within this Ravens offensive line. And what happened? Lamar got hurt. So, I mean, like, I kind of wish like EDC was like, going all in from the jump. As to right now, like the guy that you had on before here, like now he's just trying to like fix everything last minute. And it's like, we're
Yeah.
like more of like a we're just our own enemy. We're our own biggest critic at this point. So it's like now it's like you're waiting till last minute. You know that we need a pass rush, interior pass rush. I would say even before Namdi BK went down, him facing multiple double teams. Like you look at
Yeah.
every top tier pass rusher in the league, they all have some sort of consistent interior pass rush, whether it be Max Crosby, Michael Parsons, or even like Jadeveon Clowney or even Myles Garrett. They all have some type of source of consistent interior pass rush, which opens up the defense more than that. So I mean, as of right now, man, it's kind of hard for me to have faith as a Ravens fan, especially with EDC under there. But yeah, man, that's all I got to say, man. That's it.
I mean, but like, I understand, right? I understand us putting some blame on EDC, and he absolutely does deserve some blame. I sat up here on this very podcast yesterday, and I was like, I think it's some bullshit that he didn't take a big swing this year because that window for a Lamar Jackson Super Bowl is
Yeah,
not getting any wider, right?
yeah, most
But
definitely. Yeah.
but I do think in the last 2 years, so in 2024 and in 2023, there were moves made, and the roster was constructed in such a way
Yeah.
that this Ravens team should have absolutely at least made the Super Bowl one of those years, but they didn't make the Super Bowl either one of those years. So I can't really put it too much on Eric DeCosta because he wasn't the one who, Zay Flowers fumbles on the 1 yard line. He wasn't the one who Lamar Jackson throws it into triple coverage. He wasn't the one who only ran the ball 6 times in that game, and then 2024, of course, he had the 2 turnovers in the first half and then the blunder by Mark Andrews. Like I feel like the rosters have been there because I
Yeah.
picked the Ravens to win both of those games. So I don't know, man. I just can't put it on EDC like that. What do you think?
I would say, it kind of, I still go on EDC a little bit, like after that 2023 AFC Championship game, like we didn't really address the offensive line like that. We let Morgan Moses, we traded him to the Jets. I would say even within, like having Roger Rosengarten, there was some like type of like, confidence that all the Ravens fan had in him. But granted, he's a rookie at the time. So he wasn't gonna show like no form of consistency until later on into the season, which he did, but like now it's like, okay, more so how the team is constructed. I feel as though it's a little iffy when it comes to letting Eagles get in the way with EDC and Harbaugh, the way as though they don't really coexist. But that's just me, man.
I feel you. I feel you. Well, man, I mean, I appreciate. Is this your first time calling in? I think this is your first time
Yeah,
calling in, right?
yeah, man. This is my first time calling in, man.
All right, bet. Well, I appreciate you for calling in, bro. And make sure. I mean, I'm gonna be doing this every Wednesday, so call back next Wednesday, bro. I want to
Yes,
get an
sir. I
update.
got you. Most definitely, man.
All right, bro. Take care.
You too.
All right. That was my guy Terry. Shout out to Terry. Made some good points in there. I mean, like, I see, guys. I'm right there with Terry when he says like, EDC didn't address this, he didn't address that, and it's like, he's right. He's right because you got to keep the main thing, right? The offensive line and the defensive line, like he talked about, having guys on that defensive line, that front, that can create that interior pressure. Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, said himself, the bane of any quarterback's existence is interior pressure. Look at what the Eagles have been able to do with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. They're getting to Super Bowls. They're winning Super Bowls. They're the favorite right now to come out of the NFC if I had to check the odds right now. So it's just like that's what it takes. That's what it takes, at the end of the day. You got to start with that. You can't just go around and be putting the you can't put the dressing and the croutons and the cheese and everything without the actual salad lettuce. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to have the steak, not just the sizzle. You got to have the steak, not just the sizzle. And the steak is those big beefy guys down low. Pause. Okay. I did see a super chat donation. Yeah, from my guy Asmodeus. My guy Asmodeus was backstage. I was getting ready to bring him up, but as soon as Garnett went down, Asmodeus, he had dropped out. He says, "Sorry, I couldn't make it at the gym now. We'll join the show next Wednesday. Now that I know you do lives." Appreciate the super chat donation, Asmodeus, and yes, make sure you come back over on next Wednesday, and I'll have you up. I had you up a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I got to get you back on. I got to get an update from you on how you feel about these Ravens. Again, this is the call-in show. If you do want to call in, the link to the live stream is in the description on YouTube. I know a lot of you guys watch on X. If you do want to join the show, come over to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. We are live right there now too. You can go in the description. You can click on the link in the description to join the show. But I appreciate you, Asmodeus, for coming through and dropping the super chat donation as always, brother. As always. But yeah. you guys are making some good points here. And again, back to what my guy Terry was saying, like, yeah, EDC definitely. I totally agree. Should have made another move, another more of a splashier move right before the trade deadline. Something that really, really gives this that bolsters the defensive line, right? Or at least maybe bring in another offensive line piece. But again, I think that was always a pipe dream. They were never going to, you know, kind of admit fault that the offensive line is not up to standard, right? They'll never do that. I think they're going to ride that until the wheels fall off. And that's another thing about this Ravens organization. They're very reactive and not so much proactive. And I think that that's one of the bigger issues with this Ravens team. I read a quote from I believe it was Howie Roseman. Yeah, from Howie Roseman yesterday. It was, let me see if I can find it in here. I want to read it back to you guys. And it just kind of really spoke to the philosophy. It spoke to the philosophy of general managers around the league, because Howie Roseman spoke about, you know, some of the moves that the Eagles were getting ready to make, but they ended up not making them. Let me see if I can find this quote, man. Damn. I had it pulled up. I should have bookmarked it yesterday. That's what I should have did. But let me see. Howie Roseman. See if I can find this. Here we go. So Eagles GM Howie Roseman on his reported interest in trading for Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett. Because if you guys heard, I don't know if you guys heard, but there were rumors that the Eagles were willing to give up 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. If that ain't all in, if that ain't treating those draft picks like they're actually lottery tickets, like they actually are, I mean, I don't know what is. I think that that's the winning formula, if you ask me. The quote from Roseman was fire. He is right. Here's the quote. Quote, "When there's opportunities to be aggressive for the right players, we're not going to sit on our hands. You don't have great success without taking great risks. We can't be afraid to fail. I think a lot of times for you to get to the top, you have to be willing to take chances that may look controversial at times. I won't live with regret." End quote. You see what I mean, that is a GM who understands the assignment, quite frankly. Like, you want a guy who is going to say stuff like this, who is going to operate like this as the general manager of your team, as the guy who's responsible for buying the ingredients for the meal that the coach is going to prepare. Makes it real easy on Nick Sirianni. He really does. If we talk about all-time GMs making head coaches look like gold, Nick Sirianni, what he's been able to do, I mean, what Howie Roseman's been able to do in providing Nick Sirianni with all the pieces that he could possibly need on a year in and year out basis, that's special, man. That's special, man. I hope Nick Sirianni's getting Howie Roseman and his kids some great Christmas gifts this year. I really do. But yeah, guys. I mean, that again, that's one of those reasons. But on the other hand, of course, as we know, the Ravens will never adopt that sort of philosophy here in Baltimore, and it's just it's sad to me, because as much as they like to say like it's a copycat league, which it is largely, the Ravens just seem to be so stubborn and stuck in their ways and not innovative, to the point where, like, you can kind of see that things just all around have gone a little bit stale. I mean, it just is what it is. Like, when you constantly neglect the offensive line and just trot any old 5 out there, right? Yeah, we got some questions about our guards. We don't really know. I mean, we're not going to give them any competition. Specifically, I'm talking about left guard, where Andrew Voorhees has been playing. We're not going to really necessarily give them any competition. But, we're just going to see what happens. We got a mobile quarterback anyway. We don't really need to worry about that. Do you know how much of Lamar Jackson's play gets elevated beyond of where it already is at if you give him a more than competent offensive line. Look at what Daniel Jones is doing. I know we didn't have a good game against the Steelers. I kind of saw that one coming. But for the majority of this year, Daniel Jones has been a very, very good quarterback. And that's in large part due to his offensive line. So if a good O-line can make Daniel Jones look good, I mean, hell, a great O-line made Lamar Jackson look good back in 2019. And again, like I said, you guys remember the receivers that they had in 2019. We're talking Miles Boykin, Willie Snead, and Seth Moore. Or Seth Roberts. You know, so why ignore that? I mean, that's always been a mystery to me. That's always been a mystery to me. You should spend a higher draft capital, right? It should be way higher on the priority list to have a competent offensive line and defensive line, and everything else comes second. You have the luxury of having a quarterback who can hold down the rest of it. So after you have a quarterback who can kind of hold down the rest of it and kind of conceal any other blemish that the team may have, it makes your job as a GM relatively easy. It does. I can only imagine. I saw somebody in the chat. I can only imagine if Lamar Jackson had Howie Roseman as his general manager. I can only imagine. Howie Roseman has to go out and get top of the line, top flight skill players. A.J. Brown, right? Draft high on a Devonta Smith. Go and trade for a Saquon Barkley. Top flight. You got to go out and get top flight talent at skill positions in order to help your quarterback, Jalen Hurts, succeed. Can you imagine if Howie had Lamar and he didn't need to spend a bunch of money in capital on skill players everywhere else, because Lamar Jackson can literally make it happen by himself. There's a reason why he's a 2-time MVP. And he could just build around the trenches all day, right? And then, like, receivers, you know, everything else is kind of like a secondary thought. Man, Lamar would have a fortress in front of him. And he'd have a fortress going up against the opposing team's quarterback that's going to get him the football back. It's a very simple game if you're Eric DeCosta. It's a very simple game. All you got to do is keep Lamar Jackson on the field. And when Lamar Jackson is not on the field, make sure you have guys out on the field on defense who are going to get Lamar Jackson the ball back. I told the Charm City Sideline podcast last night, shout out to Bradley and Zach, those are my guys. I told them Lamar is all about how many possessions you get. All about how many possessions you give him. You know, I told him that the best defense is a really good offense. But inevitably, the defense is going to be on the field. So you have to have guys who can take away the football. That's what we do not do in the postseason. The Ravens, Lamar gets no help from his defense when it comes to turnovers in the postseason. So again, if you're Howie Roseman, it starts with you. Get guys in the interior of that D-line. Get guys on the outside, proven guys who are going to cause havoc, who are going to force turnovers. That's what it boils down to. I'm tired of watching a tired defensive line get picked apart in the playoffs by Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. It's just, that's what it comes down to. Lil said it, when can I enter the call-in room? You can enter now. You can enter now. The link is in the description on YouTube. If you want to go ahead and call in, go ahead and hit that link. Don't forget to join the Rain Gang, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We appreciate you guys for coming through. Got almost 90 people watching live between X and YouTube. Shout out to you guys, and Kick as well. Shout out to you guys watching over on Kick. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for coming through to the show. Again, this is Quiet Storm Sports. I'm your host, Sutton Def, and this is the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Again, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Somebody did subscribe while I was talking to my guy Garnett. Can't remember exactly who it was, but shout out to you. Salute to you. Our newest sub popped up on the screen, but I missed it. Shout out to everybody watching or not watching. Shout out to the audio listeners. Shout out to the audio listeners listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. Let me see. I got my guy Lil in the background. Hold on, let me switch back over to our caller studio here. See what my guy Leo's got to say about these Ravens, man. Post trade deadline. What about 8 some games left? Right? I want to know how my guy is feeling in here. Let me see. Oh wait, he left out. He left out. I'm gonna wait till he gets back in. I'm gonna wait till he gets back in. Oh, there he goes. There he goes. My man Leo, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
Nothing too much, man. I don't really got too much to talk about. Like I'm like still confused about like why we didn't really make nothing shake before the deadline. Like I don't know like why they have so much trust in the current O line. But like it just feels like don't it feel like every like year, like towards the end of the season, they start to play better. Like the sorry O lineman that we have, like it feels like in the postseason, like the O line is never really the issue.
Oh
Like, and
yeah.
that's the weird. I think that's why like I don't know. Like it always feels like the O line actually goes a little bit try hard, towards like the end of the season and the postseason.
Right.
And
I think the issue is, I mean, like you said, like the O line, they tend to pick it up as the season goes on. And my problem with the Ravens is like it feels like we're playing a game of whack-a-mole when it comes to the issues, right? We solve one problem and then another problem pops up. But the main issue is that when we get to the playoffs, the Ravens just simply are not playing complementary football. Appreciate the sub, world class, but they're not
yeah,
playing complementary football. And like I was saying before you came on, like they're not forcing turnovers at all,
they're not
right? And
forcing.
like,
It's this the
yeah,
only team that could turn the ball over 3 times and still have a chance to win.
yeah,
Like I don't get that. Like it's like that's why like it's just like you don't know. Like I think you said something about it. Like it wasn't specifically Harbaugh's fault in the Bills game. Like that's why like he was getting off because it's like when we lose, it's never really when we lost to the Chiefs. Everybody you could look at the Zay Flowers fumble. You could look.
hmm,
It's always something like it's always
you can
something like
scapegoat.
shielding him, like Mark Andrews, the Lamar fumble, the Mark Andrews drops the ball. No, he gets stripped after like a
Yeah,
big completion. He gets stripped, and then we come back all the way down the field, score a touchdown, and then he drops the 2 point conversion right in his hand, right in his lap. It's always something like man. It's just like they don't. It's like I don't think they know what direction they're going. I don't think our front office really knows what to do. Like
hmm.
I just think
So
we're
you,
just in like a weird state of like trying to make it work. Like I don't know, but I don't know. I feel like okay, we showed that we could be up on the Bills by 15 points in the fourth quarter. So I'm not gonna say the season is lost. Like we got potential.
yeah.
Like I don't I, like we just got like Tom Monk. That's another. I was so pissed. Like you had the same notes that I did. I took from the game. Like like even to like why was Derrick Henry on the when they tried to run the read option pitch.
Hmm.
And then we had Derek. Why is Derrick Henry in that formation? When we Key and Mitchell, like Tom Monken, he got to
Yeah,
think outside the box. Like he really got to open his mind up. Like it's like he has a crush on Derrick Henry. Like it works, but when it's not working, it's like he start glitching. Like his mind just
yeah.
start glitching. But Tom Monken, he does go try hard in the playoffs. Like I said, like for the most part. So I don't know, man. It's like this team right now.
It boils down to what you said. I mean, like in the playoffs, we're the only team who can turn the football over 3 times and still only lose by 7 points or 2 points, which is dead ass happened to the Ravens. It's so crazy. And like my thing is like if the Ravens could at least force one turnover, right? I'm talking just one turnover on a Patrick Mahomes, on a Josh Allen. Give Lamar Jackson an extra possession 1 or 2 times, and you will win these football games. Most likely going away. It's so wild to me. But again, I had some promise from what I saw last week against the who did we play last week, bro?
Dolphins.
The Dolphins, right? It had some. It looked promising against them because they were playing some complimentary football here and there. I love to see that. But I want to get your prediction for this upcoming week. We got a minute left.
Okay,
Ravens
okay,
versus
okay, okay,
Vikings.
okay.
What you thinking?
Okay, I say we get back. Okay, I say we put up I say we put up 37. We win
Ooh,
37-24.
okay.
I say
See, I like
they
that.
get a late score. I say they get a late score at the end. So really we winning we blowing them out most of the game. I say they get a late score. We win 37-24.
Okay. So
JJ
probably
McCarthy
about.
gets sacked 4 times.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Last thing, who gets the sacks? Because that's been a big thing. Who gets the
Okay.
sacks?
Draymond Jones gets 2 sacks.
Okay.
Kyle Hamilton get a strip fumble sack,
Ooh.
and um shit um shit anybody the random I don't know the last one fuck
I got you. No,
I
but I
mean,
like that
who
though.
knows shit
No, I
know
like
this
that. And the
one
thing is, I think that 4 sacks is very plausible for a JJ McCarthy who, like I said at the top of the show, he likes to hold on to that football, right? 3+
yeah
seconds, right? We're
yeah
coming off against the game against the Miami Dolphins. Tua gets the ball out the second quickest in the league, only behind Mahomes. And JJ McCarthy gets it off the second slowest in the league, I think only behind a Caleb Williams, I want to say. So
yeah
it's gonna be some sacks to be had. The
yeah
opportunity is going to be there. But listen, man, I appreciate you for coming through.
yes
Like I said, I
sir
do this every Wednesday. If you want to call back in next week, make sure you hit
mm-hmm.
me up, bro.
All right, holla at you. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Be safe. Peace. All right, that's my guy, Lil. Appreciate him for coming through. Again, y'all are making some good points. Making some good points here. I like that 4 sack prediction too. I really like that. Again, the thing that I'm going to be looking at the most this week, this Sunday against the Vikings, of course, I want the Ravens to shut down Aaron Jones, although I don't necessarily know if Aaron Jones is going to be healthy and active. I think he's going to play. He's dealing with a shoulder right now, Aaron Jones. He had an AC joint sprain, which is something to do with connecting your clavicle bone. So I think the rest of your shoulder, something like that. Pretty painful. I don't know if it's in his left or his right shoulder. I think that's definitely worth kind of finding out. If I could, I should probably do some more research on that because I don't know if he's going to be as physical. He was really good last week, averaged 8.7 yards per carry. So the first order of business is going to be for the Ravens to shut down the rushing attack of the Vikings and put it solely in the hands of JJ McCarthy to win that game. That's what it's going to come down to. Okay, that's what you got to do. Let me see. Read the chat a little bit, catch up on that. My guy Sip to Tally Films in the house. What's going on, Coach? I want to get my guy Coach's opinion. I don't know if you're available, Coach. If you want to pop in real quick, I want to get your opinion on something real fast. If not, it's okay. I totally understand. We'll hook up on. I think we might be getting together tomorrow. I think we might be getting together tomorrow for sippers. I gotta hit you up about that too. Because we got PRP at 6:30. So I'm gonna hit you up about that. Urban Closer, what's going on, man? Says Coach sent me. Appreciate you, Urban, for coming through. World Class says I'd like to have top 5 picks in these rounds in the next draft. Top 5 picks in what rounds? Top 5 picks in these rounds in the next draft? I don't know. Be blessed because our quarterback is back. Yes. All right, let me read through a couple more pieces of news here. Let me see. Jeff Zariback reporting on Draymond Jones. We'll get him weaved into the system right away, and he'll be playing on Sunday. Yeah, told you guys about that earlier. That's all right, Coach. He says he's driving home. That's all right, Coach. I'll talk to you about it tomorrow. Recording Chalk Talk at 6. Got you. Let me see. Bryce in the chat. Bryce says, can we also admit the Ravens are just chokers in the postseason? Face it. The biggest players have faded come playoffs time. They've had the personnel to win it all the last 2 years. Yeah, man. I was out taking the dog for a walk this morning, and I was just kind of reminiscing over, all the past postseasons, and I kind of honed in on Mark Andrews, right? And I think about how since Lamar Jackson came to this team, how Mark Andrews was always a leader on this team. He was always one of seemingly like the captains, like the guy at the forefront. He was Lamar's security blanket for so many years, but every year in the playoffs, he sold Lamar. And it started in 2019 when that pass, popped right off of his hands against the Titans, and it ended up being an interception, and it was just all downhill from there. He had his chance. He had so many chances. Mark Andrews did not to do too much on Mark Andrews, because I still love him. You know, I still respect him. He is a Raven for life, it feels like, even though I think that he probably won't be with the Ravens for too much longer. It'll still be bittersweet when he goes, but he had so many chances. He had so many chances to really christen himself as one of the best Ravens tight ends, or really as one of the best tight ends of all time, right? If you would have taken over in that Titans game and made the catches that you were supposed to make, if you would have made those clutch catches in that Bills game in 2021, that divisional game that the Ravens lost, if you know, I can't even remember his performance in the 2023 AFC Championship game. It kind of goes to show you right there. I'll have to look back into that. But this past season, right? You know, having the fumble, a fumble with not less than 9 minutes to go. The Ravens have all the momentum in that game against the Bills, 2024, and you fumble the football as you guys are just marching downfield. And then even still, Lamar puts you back in a scenario where you have your chance to get your get back and you drop the 2-point conversion. He had so many chances to really christen himself as one of the best tight ends of all time. So what I want you to do is this, chat. And if you're part of the hashtag replay gang, I want you to comment down below. Give me your in order. Give me your top 3 Ravens tight ends of all time. Okay, top 3 Ravens tight ends of all time. And all things considered, you can add whatever context you want, and you can add some explanations, but I want you guys to put that down below in the chat. Mark Andrews, I feel like he had so many chances to become that number 1. He really did. But it just never panned out. But in terms of, you know, the Ravens being playoff chokers, like Bryce says here, guys, it's definitely one of those things where our best players, because I can't take Lamar off the hook either. Lamar is one of the leaders, and he turns the ball over way too much in the playoffs. Lamar turns the football over way too much in the playoffs. Mark Andrews can't make a play to save his life in the playoffs, right? Or at least plays when it matters the most. You got Zay Flowers, who's supposed to be wide receiver 1 on the team. Of course, didn't play in the playoffs last year, but in his rookie season, made a couple of boneheaded mistakes, you know, getting taunting calls and trying to dive over the goal line and exposing the ball and getting it knocked out, flipping the field. You know, some of this team's like biggest leaders, when you call on them in the biggest moments, sometimes they shrink. And the defense normally does its job, right? The defense normally does its job and holds it down and keeps the opponent to sub 20 points. Problem is, offense shoots themselves in the foot too many times, and the defense also isn't forcing any turnovers. They go ultimate bend, don't break. Excuse me, in the postseason. Let me see. We're in a rebuild. Let me see here. Front office. I have no issues with Mark, says Taurus. Shoot, man. I don't really have issues with him either, other than the fact that he could have definitely stepped up more in the playoffs. That's for sure. Hear the pain in your voice. Frank says Todd Heap, Mark Andrews, and Dennis Pitta. I like that list. I mean, Dennis Pitta, believe had a touchdown in the Super Bowl, right? I don't know. I might put Dennis Pitta ahead of Andrews. I might just. Only because of the playoff performances. Heap is the OG. I like that, though. Heap, Pitts, and Sharp. Shannon Sharp. Doesn't really feel like. I don't know, man. Couple years with the Ravens. I guess we could say. My guy Coach says Heap, Andrews, and Sharp. Yeah, man. Again, this is just kind of proving my point on where Andrews could be. Because nobody has Andrews number 1. As great as Andrews has been the past, 8 years, almost a decade now, right? As great as he's been, he's never really taken it to that next level, that Travis Kelce. You know what I'm saying? Like where you have huge signature playoff performances. Or else he could be higher on all you guys' lists. I know that for a fact. But yeah, man. Yeah. I would say Heap, Andrews, Pitta. But again, I might be able to interchange Andrews and Pitta. Only reason why I didn't put Shannon Sharp in there is because he wasn't, a homegrown Raven so much. He may get to number one. He Andrew still has a chance. He has a chance to get to number one. I mean, he would have to look. The only way that he can move up on the list, it don't matter if he catches 15 touchdowns for the rest of the season, right? It doesn't matter if he ends the season leading the Titans in touchdowns again like he did last year. It doesn't matter. It all comes down to what he does in January if the Ravens make it there. If the Ravens make it there. For me. Tila says Sharp will pull out his Ravens helmet real quick if Osho say he ain't a real Raven. Yeah, he had that helmet on standby, Tila. It'd be on standby. If you having it right off camera. As soon as the Ravens win anything. If the Ravens win, best believe. Oh, Unc Shannon Sharp, he got that Ravens camera right to his side, right on his side table. I promise you. That is funny. Shout out to Nightcap. Khalil Bowling. My guy Khalil's in the chat. Says star Isaiah Likely in the playoffs. Andrews makes too many mistakes and then Lamar gets the blame. Yeah, man. I mean, I think the proof was in the pudding last year when you saw that what was it, 30-something yard touchdown to Isaiah Likely from Lamar Jackson, to the go ahead touchdown to potentially tie the game. That was a tough catch, man. That was a tough catch, and I think Isaiah Likely, even still to this day, I think that he probably has top 3 hands on the team. Isaiah Likely. I like his hands a lot better than Mark Andrews. I know you guys remember what happened against the Bears where like Andrews catches it and then like it just gets like swatted out. Luckily, they called it a catch and a fumble out of bounds. But if they would have called that incomplete, a lot of Ravens fans would have had their pitchforks out over Mark Andrews, but he's lucky by the skin of his teeth. Right? The referees decided not to call that one incomplete. But yeah, I think Isaiah Likely definitely has top 3 hands on the team. It would be him, D-Hop, and dare I say, we're talking about just pound for pound hands team. See, Isaiah Likely, D-Hop, best hands on the team. For me, it's either between Zay Flowers and Tylan Wallace, I would say. It's between those two. I'm skipping comments. Comment section is moving kind of fast. I'm not going to lie to you. Moving kind of fast. Flacco shortened Pitta's career. Lots of hospital balls, yeah. For sure. Let me see. Eli says Marcus Peters forced our last turnover in the playoffs 2020 versus the Titans. Horrible. I thought we had one against we didn't have one against Pittsburgh? I thought we had one against Pittsburgh, guys. Oh, we got a super chat donation. Chat's moving fast, but I see the super chat donation. That one pop up on the screen, making Lamar dance, making it rain. Who was that? The Spiritual War Exposed, dropping the 10-piece in the chat. Appreciate you for coming through. Appreciate you for making it rain here on Quiet Storm Sports. Spiritual War says, name a legend quarterback that don't turn the ball over in the playoffs. Lamar is no different. Just those other guys had a team and head coach to lean on. Lamar has to play perfect. Would not say too many turnovers. Yeah. Yeah, 100,000%. And again, like I said, I was walking the dog earlier, and I had some thoughts, and that was one of my thoughts. I was like, Tom Brady, and this is a wild stat, guys, but think about it like this. Tom Brady in his career, in playoff games where he had one or more turnovers, he still had a positive record in the postseason, right? Because even if Tom Brady did not play perfect, he even still had a positive record in games where he had 2 turnovers. Even when Tom Brady did not play at his best, even when he did not play perfectly, the team around him, right, they were able to help him up and kind of make up the slack. And that's the difference that you see with this Ravens team. If Lamar Jackson does not, throw a Jackson 5 with no interceptions, no fumbles, no nothing, if he doesn't play a completely clean game, Ravens probably won't win. They probably won't win. The name of the game for any team getting ready to play the Ravens in the playoffs is, okay, let's just make Lamar make one mistake. If we can make Lamar Jackson make one mistake, we can massively shift kind of the momentum of this game in our favor. We can shift the odds in a massive way if we can make Lamar Jackson make one mistake. Because guess what? All we got to sit back and do is not make mistakes. And if Lamar makes one mistake, he'll start to press, and those mistakes will start to compound, right? And that's what we saw in different games, like in the divisional round. It kind of rubbed off on his teammates as well. And Mark Andrews, we saw that in the AFC Championship game, kind of rubbed off on his teammates. Zay Flowers, so it's really all about rattling Lamar, is what they do. But again, that comes down to being able to force turnovers for your defense, playing complementary football. That if there's one thing that the Ravens are piss poor at, is playing complementary football in the playoffs. It's either all or nothing. It's either the defense allows 0 points and we just, win by default because the other offense couldn't score, other team couldn't score, or Lamar Jackson has to go scorched earth. It's one or the other, But appreciate the super chat donation, Spiritual War. We appreciate that. But yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Snow Bunny Sharp, says Kwame. Shannon Snow Bunny Sharp. Crazy times. Glad he was able to recover from that, though, for sure. Let me see. So news came out. Ravens injury report. All 53 Ravens practiced fully on Wednesday. They have nobody on the injury report. Every player was a full practice participant. Meanwhile, you have the Minnesota Vikings, who, let me go through their injury list on this Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. So you have their left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, who is nursing a knee injury right now. He practiced in full today, so that's good for them. He's been pretty decent over the course of this season. Will Fries, their guard, who they just paid. Apparently, he hasn't been performing up to standard. I've been kind of snooping around behind enemy lines, trying to get the word, get the lowdown, right? And this is for you guys, right? I got my ears to the street. I got my ears to these Minnesota Vikings podcaster streets, right? I got a couple connections from the last time that we played the Vikings, and I'm kind of doing my intel. I'm doing my research, right? I'm staking out the Vikings. So let's continue. Will Fries, their right guard, that is dealing with a calf. He was limited in practice today, Wednesday. Their fullback, CJ Ham, hand injury. He was limited today as well. Safety, Theo Jackson, had a concussion. He did not practice today. Aaron Jones, who I was talking about earlier. Let me see. DeAndre, appreciate the sub. Appreciate the sub, DeAndre. Aaron Jones with a shoulder and a toe. I remember I was saying he has that AC joint sprain. So up here, he's dealing with something going on. Aaron Jones is, but he did not practice today. Aaron Jones did not practice today. If he does not practice tomorrow, Thursday, then that is going to be some pretty big news. Pretty big news. Another safety, Josh Metellus, nursing a foot injury. He was limited today. Cornerback Jeff Okudah with a concussion. He did not practice. Tight end Josh Oliver, old friend, with a foot. He did not practice. Defensive lineman Jalen Redmond with a shin was limited. And then safety Harrison Smith. He did not practice today. Just rest. So he will play. But it's looking like the Vikings are coming into this game. I'm not going to say super banged up. Only a couple guys who didn't practice. I mean, Aaron Jones, that's huge, right? Both of their safeties either limited or didn't practice. It's just something to think about. Health is wealth. Sean Cole says, how we looking, son? We're looking great. We're looking great. Every Raven practicing. Lamar Jackson says we're turning a corner. Draymond Jones says that he's got a killer be killed mentality. I'm sorry. And he's ready to go. He's going to be physical as hell. He's going to be fast. And the thing is, again, I think again, the biggest thing with Dre Jones is that he brings size, right? He brings a presence. And I think that having him, lining him up against this Minnesota Vikings offensive line, we should be able to see we should be able to see some production for him. I'm going to be looking at Travis Jones in this one, actually lining up over Will Fries. I assume that you're gonna see a lot of double teams. You're gonna see a lot of double teams on Travis Jones. My hope is that, right, especially on pass rushing downs, you'll see guys like Dre Jones, who hopefully they get in on those third down plays, and he can actually free up Travis Jones from being double teamed so easily, right? John Jenkins, we're gonna of course be looking at to get some pressure a lot on those passing downs. Brent Urban as well is gonna be a guy who had a pressure last week. Hopefully he can continue that. Greatness says, I think Jones is a big addition. Yeah, I do too. I think he's a huge addition. Let me see. That line is getting 280 rushing yards easy. You think they're getting 280 rushing yards, the Vikings? World class? Even if Aaron Jones doesn't play? We'll see. We'll see about that. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you're watching on YouTube and you're enjoying what you've been listening to for the past hour. Again, I'm your host, Sutton Def. This is the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel, and you're currently listening to Quiet Storm Sports. So, drop Trenton to edge, says Moggs. Maybe, right? I just don't know where Trenton Simpson is going to find a home on this team. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they don't necessarily want him rushing they had him rushing the passer a couple of times against the Dolphins. Wasn't really making an impact, right? Wasn't really making an impact. Just not big enough to take on a guard. He's going head up with guards, right? Rushing from the inside at that. Just zero impact with him doing that. Again, this is why I think having a Dre Jones in the mix now is going to collapse the pocket, I feel like, a whole lot quicker. And you're going to see it this week. Harbaugh said that Dre Jones is going to play this week against the Minnesota Vikings. I think what you're going to see is a J.J. McCarthy dropping back on 3rd and 6+, right? Patting that football. What I do want to see is some more exotic looks. I want to see some disguised coverage and make J.J. McCarthy think for that extra second, right? I mean, we're going up against a rookie quarterback. I know this is his second year. He basically redshirted his first in the NFL. But you're basically going up against a year one quarterback. The Ravens don't typically lose to young quarterbacks like that. Confuse this guy, disguise some of these coverages, and get after him, right? I know for a fact, probably right now as we speak, right, J.J. McCarthy is somewhere in a film room, right, with his offensive coordinator, with his head coach, and with his QB coach. And they're all talking about, okay, where is Kyle Hamilton going to be? And while that might be their main focus, that's going to be the perfect opportunity for Mike Green, slip in the back door, Kyle Van Noy, Dre Jones. Like my guy Lil said earlier, 4+ sacks. 4+ sacks. Again, I got my ears to these Minnesota Vikings streets. They think it's going to be less than 3 sacks. They think that he's going to be sacked less than 3 times, J.J. McCarthy. Mind you, he has played, 3 games this season? He started 3 games this season. He's been sacked 14 times. So, do with that what you will. Do with that what you will. That's why I say drop Trenton to edge. They're putting our edges in coverage. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I just want to see somebody who can do, if you're going to have somebody who can drop in coverage, they should be multiple. That shouldn't be the only thing that Trenton Simpson is good for, is lining up on the edge, maybe dropping in coverage, something like that. Sure, like that could probably help with some of these pressure packages, some of these disguise packages, things like that. Understandable, but a player like that is just so expendable to me. Just so expendable. It's going to be another big Teddy Buchanan game as well. I'll say that. Let me see. Flagship Fantasy says, Sutton, I think for our offense, we need to implement zone read. Our O-line is bad. The best way to keep Flores from teeing off is to keep whoever he sends on a blitz on their toes. Yeah, put guys in conflict. That's for sure. A couple of big names for this game. I'm going to be looking at Van Ginkel in this one. He's a beast. I'm going to be looking at Javon Hargrave, who's coming off of a monster game. He's going to be getting after the quarterback as well and getting after the ball. So, Yes, I think that early in this game, and here's another thing: the Vikings are susceptible to QB runs, QB scrambles. They are the 24th best in the league at stopping that, and of course, there'll be an extra emphasis on it this week against, of course, Lamar Jackson. But you got to keep the Vikings honest, right? The Vikings are a team that sees us every 4 years, right? They're not going to be used to just the sheer speed, I think, of the Ravens offense. I think the sheer speed of the Ravens offense catches a lot of NFC teams off guard because you just don't experience that every single day, right? You just don't. Even with, now that you have a Jaden Daniels in Washington, now that you have some of these other mobile quarterbacks in the league, nothing compares to a Lamar Jackson offense. It's just so different. It's a totally different gear, right? Which is another reason why it made 0 cents, count it, 0 cents for them to bring in a Cooper Rush and try to replace Lamar Jackson as the second string quarterback. Because again, there was just no continuity there at all. The Ravens offense is just so different and so installed in such a different way and played in such a different way that it doesn't make any sense. You can't justify having a statue back there. But yeah, I mean, Flores in this one, I do expect the blitz to be a heavy part. The Vikings love to blitz. Brian Flores, last time he was with the Dolphins, he famously sent 0 blitzes at Lamar Jackson damn near all game, and Lamar did not know how to handle it. But that was years ago, and this is now. I believe that was 3 years ago. This is now. And in the Big 25, Lamar Jackson is toying with the blitz. I mean, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but you can look it up. Against the blitz, Lamar Jackson, he dices up defenses. He's one of the best in the league. It's gotten to the point now where it does not, it's not smart to just straight up blitz Lamar Jackson. You do not want to give up your back end by sending extra guys because Lamar Jackson will find the open man. Like you guys remember the Mark Andrews touchdown against the Dolphins where he was on the crosser route with D-Hop and he ends up in the end zone. The Dolphins defenders, they run into each other. I did a film study on that play. It's members only on this channel if you want to watch that film study. So if you are a member of the Rain Gang, you can go ahead and check that out. I posted it earlier this week. But on plays like that, right, Lamar Jackson had a free rusher coming up the middle, right up the A-gap at him, and that, for Lamar Jackson to kind of read that and get the ball out just in time, right to the wide open receiver, that should have turned on a light bulb in every single defensive coordinator's head and said, hey, look, maybe we should not send the house against this guy because he's just going to make the correct read and get it out to the open man. He's going to throw to the void, right? And he's going to torch us. So the best thing you can do against Lamar Jackson is literally cage rush him, right? Keep a shallow spy. So, the second he decides to dip off left or right and try to run, you can have somebody there to cut him off and hope the rest of the defense rallies, right? But only thing you can really do is keep him in the pocket and keep the integrity on your back end, just like any other quarterback. Which is why I can also see some Lamar Jackson scrambles. I don't think that this offensive line for the Ravens is going to be able to hold up against the Vikings defensive line for 4 quarters. I don't. Lamar Jackson is going to have to climb his way up, through, and sometimes out of the pocket and get upfield and keep the Vikings defense honest and keep the Vikings defense on the field, right? That's what this one is going to come down to. It's going to be very, very loud in Minnesota. That's a very loud stadium that they play in, right? If you want to take the crowd out of it, keep the Ravens offense on the field. Keep the Ravens offense on the field. The crowd will be out of it. And so will the Vikings before you know it. Let me see what else you guys got here. Our O-line has good moments. That's about it. Nate versus Jettas. That should be another interesting matchup. Yes, I do agree. Nate Wiggins, as we know, has been traveling around with the other team's best wide receiver, and that is impressive to say the least to me. However, I do believe that Nate Wiggins still, and of course, no cornerback is going to be perfect. Even the best of the best would get burnt at times. You know what I mean? Like Dion got burnt at times. Darrelle Revis got burnt at times. It happens, right? Especially if you watch every single down of every single game of a team. However, I think that this is probably going to be his biggest test so far. You're talking about a receiver in Justin Jefferson, who's one of the top paid receivers in the league. You know, it is a massive focal point of that offense to get him the football. And actually, let me see something really quick. Let me look up the target share with him really quick, because I want to see, with JJ McCarthy coming back. Let's see something. How much was he targeting Justin Jefferson? So Justin Jefferson had 39% of the targets last week with 9 targets. So you know the ball is going to be coming Nate Wiggins' way. It's going to come his way. And Justin Jefferson is probably top 2, if not the best route runner in the National Football League. Nate Wiggins is going to be on an island. The good thing is, of course, he's going to have safety help over the top, whether that looks like Starks or Gilman, depending on what side he's on. But JJ is going to give him some opportunities. So I want to see. I'd be very, very happy to see 2 to 3 PBUs, pass breakups, for Nate Wiggins. I'd be very, very happy if he could hold Justin Jefferson under, I'd say, 80 yards. You hold Jettas under 80 yards, maybe no touchdowns. That'd be a very good game. That'd be a very, very good game. You know, but yeah, and I think Addison is going to give Marlo some fits. Addison might really be where you need to worry about in this one, to be honest with you. Because I could totally see Marlon Humphrey getting burnt on a coverage over the top for a huge play over the top to Jordan Addison. If there was any time to start Jordan Addison in your fantasy league, if you have him, start him. Start Jordan Addison. Of course, if you got Jettas, you're going to start him regardless, right? You got to start Jettas. But Addison, I do believe that he is going to get his this week against Marlon Humphrey. I do. You know, especially considering that I think that the Ravens will be up in this game, right? I think that they might hop out to a little bit of an early lead, right? Last week you saw the offense kind of sputter a little bit early, and then they kind of started to put things together, right? I think they come out swinging this week. I think the offense kind of gets into its groove, and that forces the Minnesota Vikings to start throwing the football early. You're going to see a lot of passes again to Justin Jefferson, but Jordan Addison is a guy to definitely look out, him versus Marlon Humphrey. I don't think y'all are taking their receivers seriously. Jettas and Addison are a damn problem. Yeah, you know, I agree. Who's our deep safety that's going to lock down the deep field? Kyle? No. Kyle is going to be close to the line of scrimmage. He's going to be the one making sure that JJ McCarthy's quarterback clock is sped up all the way. He's going to make sure his clock is overclocked. Kyle Hamilton, right? It's going to be JJ's responsibility from the time that, well, of course, even when he comes to the line, where's 14? But from the time that he snaps that football, whether it be out of the gun, so he catches it, his eyes go from the defense to the football, back to the defense. You need to know exactly where Kyle Hamilton is at, because he's going to be coming. You have to get that football out or get out of that pocket before he's there. You know, and in the deep half, like you're mentioning here, J-Jax, it's going to be Malachi Starks back there on an island. And you're going to have Alohi Gilman back there on an island, which I believe in those two guys to hold it down back there, especially when you have, the quarterback being pressured. It's all about pressure. You force pressure, it makes everybody else's job on the defense that much easier. That's why it's so important. That's why the interior pressure, the guys you put on that defensive line, are so important. That's what happens, man. Let me see. I think somebody said something earlier I wanted to bring up in here. Alaskan Man says, I'm more worried about TJ Hawkinson. That's another guy. Because while Kyle Hamilton is closer to that box, Roquan Smith might get caught out on an island. and Roquan Smith in coverage, Roquan Smith covering tight ends, that's a scary sight. I don't like the thought of that at all. Right? I don't like the thought of that at all. So TJ Hawkinson, if I was a betting man, I might bet the over in receptions for TJ Hawkinson, and I would probably bet the over for receiving yards for a Jordan Addison, and maybe the under on a Justin Jefferson. Little Vikings parlay for you there. Little Vikings parlay. But I am worried about TJ Hawkinson as well. Definitely. Especially, again, with all these nickel looks and Kyle Hamilton being on the field basically playing a linebacker position. He's not in coverage as much. Sometimes he is, depending on situation, depending on down and distance, but most of the time he's causing havoc around the line of scrimmage. And that will allow the TJ Hawkinson to go over the middle of that field and be guarded by the likes of, I don't know, Teddy Buchanan or Roquan Smith. Right? And I don't like either of those options. I don't. Let me see. Trenton coverage on Hawkinson. Maybe. Sloquan. Yeah. I want to see Roquan step up this game too. I want to see a big game from Roquan. That's for sure. Okay. All right, guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. I'm about an hour and 16 minutes in. I didn't even expect to go this long today. It's been a great episode, though. We talked about a whole lot in here. Dre Jones sending a message to the Ravens. Lamar Jackson says that the Ravens are turning a corner. We're talking about the philosophies. We did some call-ins. It's been a fun one. Make sure you guys like this video if you're still watching on YouTube. I appreciate that. If you're watching on X, leave me a follow here at Sutton Def. And then maybe come over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button over there. We'd appreciate that. Kwame says, get Tez Walker on the field. Maybe. We'll see. Guy catches a lot of touchdowns. I like that. I like that for him a lot. I like that for us. But again, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. This is your boy Sutton Def from the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. This has been Quiet Storm Sports. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Stay positive, test negative. Never, ever forget to call God. Peace.